Jesus says Kyle might as well be like Marshawn and say, I'm just here so I won't get fined, since he doesn't want to answer seriously. He really doesn't like answering my questions, which I kind of take as a badge of honor. I'm not there to be his friend.
It is.
All. Yeah. I'm not there to be his enemy, but I'm not there to be his friend. Aaron says, okay, Grant, I'm sorry, but I have to know, what is your favorite LaCroix flavor? They're all so good. I don't know. I was drinking tangerine earlier. It was good. What's the one in the pink one? I forget. The guava. The guava one is good. Caesar says, let Jimmy cook. Yeah, he's a cooker. He's gonna come out with like macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
What if you let Jimmy cook? What is dinner that night?
Peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, Jimmy, I respect you, man, but now you got to deliver. You really got to whip up something nice for dinner, dog.
Fried chicken or something, dude.
Like, I think Kyle's very skeptical. Jimmy is the leak, says David. What makes you think there's just one? I have no idea who it is. RJ John says, Grant, love what you're doing, brother. I really starting to think that your Kittle ghosting, injury when Jimmy isn't playing has weight. I don't know, man. We'll see. See how he looks. I have a feeling he's going to get like 15 catches this week and look phenomenal. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Waruna says Jimmy's correct. He arrived in Santa Clara as a 2-time Super Bowl winner. He has none to show for the effort put in. Canavalo says, what about Bruce Arians for a head coach? No. Maybe 20 years ago. No. Can we get someone? No. I mean, Brady essentially fired him. Pomplamoose is the flavor you're thinking of. Yeah, that's a good one too. I was thinking of the new Sao Paulo guava one. That one's purplish. Jimmy don't even like LaCroix. How can he say that? Aaron.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a LaCroix fan. So.
I like him. I don't know. I like carbonated water.
My sister does. A bunch of people do.
Carbonated water makes me feel like such a bougie, like rich person. Like, right. Street Juice Film says Jimmy and Kyle are the most overhyped, unproven pair in the league. These media heads are terrible for the sport. Trey fan for life. They do have a lot in common for guys who are constantly pointing the finger at each other privately. They have a lot in common. Big media followings, big brand names, huge brand names. I mean, I think a big reason that Jimmy and Kyle are here is because the Niners had no brand for 2 years. Like, they were embarrassed. They had Tom Sula. Remember that? I mean, of course you remember, but it's like, that's just some credibility. John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, Jimmy Garoppolo. Whoa, I've heard of all three of those guys. That's amazing. That's great.
Whenever you criticize Kyle Shanahan at all on Twitter or whatever, everyone's like, what do you want to do? Go back to Tom Sula? Well, it's kind of an extreme right there, right? No one's calling for Jim Tom Sula, bud. Like, chill out.
Exactly. Yeah. David DeFore says, organizational tone response as bad as Trey Lance injury. Yeah, well, it just to me shows that a large portion of the team is not going with the program. So that's why I feel like, Kyle, man, if you can get this team to win the Super Bowl in spite of you this year, cool. If not, there's a lot of reasons to maybe look around to see if Sean Payton wants to coach here or someone else who's really good. Because the roster's loaded. I feel like, it's just like the Warriors were in 2014. They could get someone. It's like, who doesn't want to coach Nick Bosa, Debo?
This year, after the Trey Lance thing, me and you were both pretty critical of Kyle Shanahan, but neither one of us said fire Kyle Shanahan right now.
No, give him the year.
I will say this is year 6 for Kyle Shanahan. And at some point, what is it going to be? Year 10, year 12? Like, at what point do we expect results?
And once again, he needs Jimmy to save his job. Because if Jimmy doesn't play well because he wasn't prepared all offseason, or he gets hurt because all Kyle's quarterbacks gets hurt and Brock Purdy has to start an extended stretch, Niners aren't going to make the playoffs. I'm calling that right now. I could be wrong. And if they don't make the playoffs, Jed's got a real tough decision.
Yeah.
How many years can Kyle use the injury excuse when it's hit? Just saying. So Jimmy needs to play well, stay healthy, all that.
If they don't make the playoffs, I mean, Kyle Shanahan after year 6 is still under 500 winning percentage.
Jonathan Marino says Trey's media hate stems from one person, Coward. I disagree. He got it from all over, man. The whole the whole world felt like they could just crap on this dude with impunity, and they can essentially because, again, there's no media allies for Trey. That's how this works. When you notice this thing happened and how many people rushed to Kyle Shanahan to his defense. Oh my God. It's like, what about the kid that broke his leg? It's all about everyone's concerned for Kyle. Oh, Kyle's taking too much criticism. He can take it. He didn't break his leg. Oh, he got some criticism this week? He gets criticism every week. He's a coach making $10 million for the decisions that he makes that cost that I'm just saying everyone was so concerned about Kyle. He'll be fine.
What makes Cowherd bad is because it's personal for him. It stems from go look at what he was saying before, when Trey Lance was drafted and then after. That's what makes Cowherd's situation a little disgusting. But yeah, I mean, you're seeing it from all over and it's unjustified. I don't see how you can rip a 22-year-old kid who says and does all the right things. He started 4 times. He did not do horrible in all the starts, but you just want to rip him apart. It's just
he did it to Baker Mayfield, right? He started picking on Baker, but he had points about Baker. There were things about Baker that I thought were kind of corny. What is your point about Trey? Like, he had no point. His point was, I have sources. I'm hearing that he sucks. Like, okay, well, he never got to play. Yeah. You act like you know. Did I skip that? RhinoG says Kyle can still save himself. Kyle, please be Andy Reid, a good coach. Let go of the power trip and let your quarterbacks ball out. You'll still get the credit. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say is like, good coaches get their players invested. So it's like, what are your favorite plays on 3rd and 8? Number them 1 through 10. Let me know. And they do that with players at the beginning of the year because it's just human nature. If someone's invested in the decisions that happen that affect everyone, they're more invested in the outcome. But Kyle seems like he's just like, this is what we're doing. And so there's a lot of mistakes in his offense. There's always a lot of turnovers. And there's a lot of finger pointing. It's like, whose fault was it? Like, well, I don't know. Maybe if your players were more invested in the decisions and the creation game plan, they would make less mistakes.
That's why I'm really confident with Mike McDaniel in Miami because he's got the formula for the run game from Kyle Shanahan. He seems really smart. And then not only that, he's got the people side down, which is at least 50% of what coaching is and management is. I tweeted today that Kyle Shanahan needs to read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, because Mike McDaniel is someone that you like, that you want to play for. He's about lifting the players up, making it about the players and not him. And I think he's going to have a lot of success. He's got Shanahan's formula, plus he has the people side down. Also,
let me just clarify what's going on. Jimmy is publicly saying, not like, hey, privately, Kyle, this is what I need. He's publicly saying, this is what I need. I need the freedom to push the ball down the field and throw the ball more than 20 times a game. I need the freedom to play like I did in 2017, to be confident, because to play well, you need freedom. He's saying that publicly. And Kyle's saying, huh? I didn't hear what he said. I don't even listen to his press. I don't care. I'm going to call the plays how I want to call them. That's terrible, man. He's telling you what he needs, and you're ignoring him, literally ignoring him. That's terrible. That's not good coaching. And that's why it always bugs me when people are so quick to call him a good coach. Like, yeah, you like his playbook because someone leaked it to you and you can look through it. And now you taught yourself X's and O's. And he does have a cool playbook, but it doesn't make him a good coach. It does not make him a good coach. And look at this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's things that Kyle Shanahan is good at. Then there's things that he needs to improve in. And I think people need to understand that. That's with anybody. That's with me. That's with,
that no doubt. Right? Everybody. Me too.
We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and you got to
be honest with yourself.
You got to be honest with yourself. You got to allow that criticism, that positive feedback in order to grow and get better.
Roger says, do you think Shanahan will make Jimmy a captain?
No. Absolutely not. He's worried right now about Jimmy taking the team over. Yeah.
Shreddy Murphy says, B. Leftwich, D'Amico Ryans, and Trey Lance dynasty. Leftwich is very interesting to me. His experience playing and working with Brady is very intriguing. Definitely got to bring him in for an interview. He'd be one of the top people. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know if Ryans would stick around. I think he's going to be gone at a head coaching position. I personally like offensive head coaches because then the offense doesn't change if there's a new coordinator, leaving to take another job. If you're a defensive head coach and then you have an offensive coordinator, he gets hired out. Now you got a whole new offense. Yeah. For me, I personally like offensive head coaches. I agree. So,
but if Jed York gets rid of Kyle for some reason, he's just going to promote D'Amico. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but what you just said is I agree with. They got to figure out the quarterback position and all that. And fun fact: Leftwich started with a career with an ankle injury. True. Grady Williams says, what's sad is that Trey would have ran through a brick wall for Kyle and his teammates to prove himself. Shake my damn head, Trey is the leader, just not for the Niners. It's too bad. Now, to Jimmy's credit, he will too. They both will. I'll just say
but the difference is Jimmy is now he's going to speak up a little bit, and Trey's still a 22-year-old kid.
That's true.
You know,
and now I almost feel like that's why I like what Jimmy's doing. And I almost feel like he's the quarterback this team needs because someone needed to stand up to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Someone needed to stand up to Kyle and say it publicly, like, dude, leave me alone. I'm 31 years old. I've been playing. You're not out there. I have to live with the results. Let me get some freedom. I love it. And Trey was never going to do that. He was never couldn't. 22. Jimmy can. I love Jimmy for this. I like Jimmy now. If he keeps doing this, I'm gonna get his jersey.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get his jersey.
I'm not getting his jersey. I know you're not either, but I will say that I like this Jimmy. Man. If he would have came in and been the corporate guy and team Kyle all the way, I would have been just like whatever, same Jimmy. But I love him, Jimmy Garoppolo's attitude. I'm rooting for him. I hope he does great.
Because honestly, he's justified in acting like this. Mm-hmm. They left him for dead, and now they need him. Now they're like, Jimmy, could you please save our season, Jimmy? Oh yeah, but I got some conditions. Here's how I want to play.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like that? Well, Brock Purdy will do your game plan. Go ahead, Kyle. By all means, show the world how good you are at evaluating and developing quarterbacks. Do it, Kyle. Oh, you don't want to do that? Okay, well then we're gonna. I love Jimmy, man. Madness to Madness says, I'm projecting this onto Jimmy. I have no idea if he's doing these things, but I hope he is. If it wasn't for the game that Trey won versus the Texans, we wouldn't have even made the playoffs in the block punt in Green Bay that won, not Jimmy. It's true. It's true. It's all very sad. It's all very sad. Cisco's kid says, first play Sunday night, play action bomb, Danny Gray.
I would love it. I would love it.
I will take credit for that. Terrence Wing, thank you. Terrence Wing says, hey, Grant, Kittle is back, bro. Wow. What a coincidence. Josh says Kyle doesn't want the Belichick-Brady dynamic where the quarterback gets a lot of the credit, so he'll stick to the checkdowns. Yeah, and quarterbacks like Brock Purdy. No one will ever give Brock Purdy any credit for any success if he plays. Ever. It's going to make the Nick Mullins effect. Let Jimmy cook. Jimmy better make something better than a PB&J. That's all I'm saying. Because Flav says, I don't understand the argument that they should have played Trey last year. Why? So he could have been injured running 13 times a game last year.
Well, can I answer that?
Sure.
They shouldn't have ran him 13 times a game. They should have let him play quarterback instead of running back, and then he would be a much further along right now.
I would argue he's better at throwing than running.
I don't understand the problem. He's not a tremendous runner. And when he passes, he looks good. What's the issue?
No, the issue is that Kyle would actually have to change his system dramatically for Trey Lance, and Kyle's a system coach, so he didn't do it. We thought he would. He let us down. He pretended he would. But he didn't. Yeah. He was like, he kept talking about the plays he was drawing up for Trey Lance. Yeah, it was counter bash. Great. Good stuff. I'm going to use him like Tim Tebow. And you're going to wait a year for it. And you're going to be so excited. And then you'd be like, what? Yeah.
Never in my mind did I think that was what was going to happen. Like, just wild.
Yeah. Oscar says, what do you think about Joe sitting down doing a film study with Russell Wilson and hasn't done anything with Trey? Joe Montana? Did he do it with Russell Wilson? I didn't know that.
Joe's not a big Trey Lance
Niner guy. He's not a big Trey guy. He's not a big Niner guy either. I'm thinking he probably got paid to do that. Charlie says Kyle needs to take care of Jimmy. Take him out for walks, give him lots of exercise, feed him 3 times a day, pet him, tell him he's a good boy, etc. Yes, I like this soap opera. It's a lot of fun. They need to work on their interpersonal relationship. Edgardo Rodriguez says Jimmy can get us a lot of defensive PIs. Yeah, man, throw it deep. Nathan Flores says, I've been rough on Jimmy, but if Jimmy starts being a rebel and takes shots down the field and saves Shanahan's again, I'd give Jimmy some credit. Yeah, man, this is like bad Jimmy, like comes in with like a leather jacket and is like, ooh, I break all the rules. I love this guy. This guy's great.
Yes.
Niners Daddy says, I like new Jimmy swag, but won't last if he fails. Yeah, it's true. You actually have to deliver.
He's got to back up his words.
Yeah. But they would have ran him 13 times a game last year. Yeah, well, I think we're saying that the Niners are really mismanaged Trey Lance like in every single way possible. Mm-hmm. And if he had gone to a team that was like that didn't have the quarterback still there, that was kind of rebuilding and on his timeline, he could have just been the next Josh Allen. But now he's probably going to have to be the next Steve Young because if he ever works out, he's probably be 30 by the time he actually gets to develop and play.
I really want to know if Trey Lance comes back next year, is Kyle Shanahan going to learn anything, or is he just going to do the same crap that he did with him.
I mean, his pattern is to do the same. It's to double down. He's the most aggressive double downer in the history of blackjack. You kidding?
Double down.
I mean, that doesn't matter what his hand did. He's doubling down. Project Max says, why does the locker room get behind if Jimmy sucks and only wins? Who does the locker room get behind if Jimmy sucks and only wins 6 more games? Trey or Jimmy?
Jimmy.
I don't know, man. It's hard to figure. This could go a lot of different directions, Project. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. I don't know. Official B&A Music 88 says Lil B or Jimmy G. Who's the better cook? Oh, it's not even close. Lil B. Wonton soup, whatever you want. And he's got the cooking dance. Whatever happened to Lil B?
I don't know who Lil B is, so I'm old. My bad, guys.
That's okay. Yeah, Lil B's my age. He went to Albany High, Berkeley High. Anyway, he made the Van song back in 2005. Sorry. He's a millennial like me. Andrew Valencia says Trey knows his mistakes, but if he's not solid passing, why run him so much? Can't learn if he's not doing it in game. Plus, Jimmy still lacks in passing. Yeah, again,
they're going to develop him by running.
Practice throwing.
Yeah,
he missed the first deep throw and hit 3 in a row, and then broke his ankle. He hit 3 deep shots in a row. If you think about it,
he was going to become a good passer through osmosis. It wasn't from actually doing it.
The Niners believe in osmosis. That's why they got Jimmy in the first place. They're like, he is Tom Brady because he was next to Tom Brady.
He stood next to him.
He stood next to him, and that's enough. Yeah. Josh says Kyle should steal Harbaugh's strategy and hit his quarterback's pads before games. Yeah, do something. Show your quarterback that you're behind him. But he won't. Charlie says, I'm living for the catty drama between Kyle and Grant. I expect a knockdown, drag-out cat fight at a future press conference soon. I hope not. I'm trying my best to be as professional. You hear my tone, right? Very professional, not snarky. These are fair questions. I mean, Jimmy basically teed it up. He said, that's a good question. Like, obviously not for the coach, the guy who makes a decision. So I asked the question.
I think what a lot of people don't understand is the way Grant asks questions is 100% normal in other regions. Yeah. Right.
It's just kind of got phased out of his market.
Yeah. If he's in New York, that's how they ask questions. Like he's being soft.
I'm in New York. Everyone's like, this new guy is soft, dude. Who is this guy from California? Right. That's what I would be out there. Yeah. And that's what my dad realized. It's like being a New Yorker in California is shocking. Just like being yourself. You're like, oh, he said what he thought? Whoa! We don't do that out here.
Yeah. I just got back from New York. Yeah. And everyone's like, all the Californians, people are rude in New York. They're so mean. I freaking loved it, man. They just tell you how they feel. They're blunt. Yeah. I appreciate that so damn much, man.
I like it too. It's not rude. Or, I don't know, maybe some people think rude is bad. Sometimes rude is good. Rude can be nice. Just tell me how you feel. Yeah. I don't want to have to guess and like, well, he said he's in a good mood, but the body language really seemed like he was telling me to go screw myself. I don't really know. Right. Michael Carroll says Shane Falco is still on the market. Just say it. Josh says, besides quarterback, who's got the better team? Niners, Bills. I think most people feel like the Niners have the team. Like, if you take the quarterbacks out of the situation, they're the best team in the league, which is, again, why I say, Kyle, win the Super Bowl, because I think someone else could come in here, figure out the quarterback situation, which you hadn't figured out in 6 years, and win a Super Bowl. You're looking like Mark Jackson right now, man. Prove that you're Steve Kerr. You hung out with Steve Kerr yesterday. You know Steve Kerr, but you're not Steve Kerr yet. You're Mark Jackson until you win.
It's hard it's completely hard to say. I'm not 100% familiar with all their players, but I tell you what, I do love Stephon Diggs, and I do love their running backs. So I don't know.
Trey Davis White, really good. Heresy says Kyle has his issues, but let's not let the bad boy Jimmy persona change anything. Bad boy Jimmy, that's funny. Jimbo ain't that guy, and he's shown it. Probably true. 2019 only happened because an elite defense, Mostert, breakout, and Salah. And it's true, like 2017 happened, but I've pointed. I mean, it was your house money. The team was eliminated. There was no pressure. Like Jimmy had pressure in the Super Bowl, and he didn't hit. He really played terribly. So he has pressure in the playoffs, and he's one of the worst playoff quarterbacks ever. So I don't know. Heresy, you're right.
Yeah, talk is one thing, but he's going to have to prove it as well. And
he will. He will. I hope they cut to Kyle's face if Jimmy misses a deep throw, like immediately. Kyle's like,
oh my gosh,
told you, Jimmy. Seth says, why is everyone overlooking this game? Broncos D has allowed less points than us this season. Writing it off just like Chicago. Russ will be Russ. Not trying to be negative as a fan, but it's true. You're right. This is a trap game for sure. We're going to talk about that in a minute. We'll take a couple more questions. But it is a trap game. RhinoG says, have you guys noticed Debo runs like Tyreek Beauty? No. No. I haven't noticed that. Debo runs like Debo. Haberman and Middlecoff. Trey is too slow to run the read option. Only thing he can do well is run up the middle. Kyle doesn't trust him throwing. All right, well, then that was a great draft pick. Good evaluation, Kyle. How does Kyle get points for evaluating him, trading up, and then being like, oh, you know what? He's not that good. Everyone's like, Kyle is so observant. He just like, what? How does he get points for this?
Yeah. That's been my complaint. Like you either got to not like how he's using them, or you got to not like the fact that he tried to trade Jimmy, your boy, and for 3 first-round draft picks and draft him in the first play. One of the two.
Like people are like, hey, it's not Kyle's fault that Trey's Tim Tebow. Yes, it is. He drafted him. He traded up for him. He drafted him. He developed him. He sat him for. It's absolutely 100% his fault. Like what? I get worked up. Sorry. Josh says trade Bosa, Trent, Debo, and Kittle for Hoyer. Yeah, bring it. Yes. Bring back the 2017 49ers, please. Michael Carroll says if you could trade Kyle for the Cookie Monster, would you? Nah, I always thought the Cookie Monster was kind of overrated. Like cookies are good, but you don't have to dedicate your life to cookies. It's kind of a moderation thing.
Yeah.
Seth said, Grant, what would you do if Bezos bought the Niners? Go about my life. Yeah, go about my life. Keep doing what I do. I feel you though. Ominous 24 says, what would Kyle have done if he drafted Mahomes? Do you think Mahomes would be half of what he is now if he had to play in Kyle's offense? Probably not. It'd be a great question. I'd love to know.
He'd run a lot more.
Hey, man, got to run you between the tackles, bud. RhinoG says, next time watch Debo run like he's karate chopping. Okay, I like that.